game. This year's H2K still plays a phenomenal macro game, so I believe that probably is the macro god.
It makes sense. The correlation is there, Crepo. Okay, getting into these bans is not a Mumu. It's Kalista into Elise from H2K of Lucian as the first ban from Vitality, hitting the AD carry champion pools from Forgiven and Hyanan. I'd like to see what happens if they ban more AD carries. Take Corpi away, maybe.
Yeah, poor Forgiven. Not again.
Not again.
Vitality, on the other hand, ban out Shen. They must have watched that little feature on Odawamne talking about why he loves his Shen so much. Obviously, still a flex pick. Vander can play Shen support too, but most likely is targeted at Odawamne.
And waiting for that last ban to come in from H2K. We'll see what it's going to be, where they target ban. But yeah, don't usually see that Shen ban all that often. Usually just leave it up for the flex pick. Fiora will be aimed at the top lane, taking that away from Cabochard.
So yeah, the Sandra's open, Lulu's open, Alistar is open as a potential counter pick for the Lissandra. Corki gets banned out. I like it because Forgiven did some fantastic plays, but it does leave open the Gangplank.
Here we go.
But don't cheer too soon because there's a lot of power picks that Vitality can now start picking up too. There's just simply too many OPs.
Oh
man. At the moment.
Misfortune as well coming out. We've only seen one game so far, and now on 6-1 with a slight hit to her E. Doesn't really hit her early game that much, but I want to see what Runes and Mashes is going to be taking in this game. Misfortune and Gangplank going full Bilgewater in this game.
It does ruin the level 1 to like 3 in terms of putting people in kill range. But in Misfortune as a champion, the inherent weakness is obviously that you have no gap closer and that you're prone to getting engaged on. Lulu solves a lot of those issues. So Vitality setting up for a pretty chaotic game, though they need to get the Alistar. I hope so, at least, if the Lissandra comes out, because it's just so good to play into Liss, because every time she puts her Ice Claw, you just hover on top of it and look for the instant pulverize.
And additionally, great engage so you can actually layer the bullet time on top of his combo, even maybe something like a Malphite as well. Something just to lock them in place for the bullet time would be great for Vitality. And now looking towards H2K, they may even deny the Alistar here.
You know what's great with bullet time?
What is that, Crepo?
A Mumu.
It's the sad bullet time. It all comes together in this champion select.
It wasn't a misclick. It was all an elaborate ruse.
It was a sign. But Graves will be picked up from Yankas. We've seen that before from him. Going to be in that jungle as we have the Gangplank picked up.
Yeah, very meta rotation here. Graves in the jungle or in the top lane. Gangplank can flex to mid too, so we still have flex around. And then we have probably the strongest support on the Rift right now for H2K on the Alistar. Can always ulti out of CC and go for the interrupt on the Misfortune.
Yeah, looking forward to a potential GP mid. GBM was one of the big ones who played it back in the day. Generally going for Grasp in top lane or mid. This is fantastic. You hit minions for a bit, and then you shoot them in the face with Grasp, and then you just get health back, and it's just strong. So actually one of the
I think they even run Bandit
away from Thunder Lords.
Yeah, I think they actually run Bandit too.
Over Dangerous Game?
Yeah. Just for the harass, just get the Gangplank going on.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'll have to double check, but I think I heard Freak talk a lot about that in the North American casts.
All right, we'll see if H2K decide to do that on Gangplank this game. We'll get that confirmed. Waiting for those pickups coming in from Vitality. It's going to be Nuke picking up the Rek'Sai. He's not going to be playing it. No AP Rek'Sai today, but the Morgana also locked in.
So going up against somebody who's called the best AD carry at points in the West, you know, Forgiven, the mechanical god, they're going to say, well, we send in Hjarnan, but not alone. Take this shield, take this Whimsy, take this Lulu shield, get Pixie 2, and then fight Forgiven in an uneven battle 5v1. Protect the Hjarnan coming out here on the Misfortune. We need to see how well Vitality can play that. And we need to see Vitality get Hjarnan head in the early game because everything is on him so far.
I wonder what Forgiven picks up. Maybe he could go for a Caitlyn. Actually hovering over the Caitlyn and locked in with all those top tier AD carries taken away. And now we see the Caitlyn. That was actually played in the NA LCS as well. So we've seen it before, but not quite in Europe just yet.
Yeah, I think it was Team Liquid with Piglet who had that one. The enemy AD carry, he ran over a trap. This is like super late game. And if you don't know what changed, whenever you walk on a trap, Caitlyn gets an incredibly long-range headshot queued up. So the enemy AD carry walks on a trap. Piglet just snipes him in the air, just does a massive amount of damage, 80% of the HP gone. So definitely you have to watch out for Caitlyn. In addition to that, she is incredibly strong in sieges because she can line up the traps. Luckily for Vitality, they have the answer with a Black Shield on the support here, Kasing already. But they're looking at some dive too, though. Imagine Gangplank ulti combined with Lissandra going in. Very explosive fight here for H2K. But also a decent amount of late game with both GP and the Caitlyn.
Got the late gams.
Late gams.
This one. Waiting for that last pick coming in from Kissing. Go on, you know you want to pick Zilean. He used to play support LeBlanc back in the day, very early on in small lands. That was fantastic to watch. One day it will be back.
We need some more. Yeah, we need some more damage and another threat, and preferably a backline threat. And that is actually completely done here with the Olaf. We have Nukeduck on another Lulu mid performance here. No assassin for him this time. I like that they go Olaf, because Olaf can ignore the slow from the Gangplank ulti, he can ignore the Lissandra ulti with Ragnarok, and he can just storm the backline, and it will be impossible for Alistar to peel him as well. So there's a good chance that a whimsied up, buffed up Olaf with Black Shield, or potentially Ragnarok, will just hunt down Forgiven, while Hjarnan, who was initially supposed to get all this protection, will just sit in the back and launch Bullet Time. So, two different styles possible for Vitality with this composition.
I actually really love both compositions, with the backline protection from Vitality, but also with H2K finally getting to see that Gangplank, and with the Lissandra being brought in, actually sends the Gangplank up to the top lane as well.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options here. And how well can Selfie play this game? Can he push in Nukeduck and disappear and roam? You know, how comfortable does he feel with roaming with this Lissandra? Because that's one of the strengths of that pick.
Yeah, well, we see the coaches shaking hands. We're getting in here. The comms are locked in, and it's time to load up for Vitality versus H2K.
We just won against Origin and Fnatic, but I think H2K is going to be the biggest challenge of the three.
Hjarnan is good Kalista. Casting is really good Fresh. That's the advantage they have.
We want to win against them more than we want to win against other teams.
And H2K say, forget it! We can just take the base and end the game here!
Vitality! Strike down Origin!
They are good, but they're not something special.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. H2K up against Vitality. Probably the hypest game today coming into this one for a final game. And Selfie and Nukeduck lining up in the mid lane, but the stack from Vitality in their jungle, just stopping that invade coming in from Jankos.
Yeah, I definitely want to spot the invade. I think Vitality expect H2K to want to lane swap and therefore move in deep into the jungle potentially and stop the deep vision. That's why they're camping in their own jungle. They seem to ignore the bottom side of the map entirely though, so we need to see what the reaction play here will be from Vitality. We could see another invade that we saw earlier, where the bot lane goes to just check the enemy camp. You very often see that in double range lanes too, where worst case they find the enemy bot lane doing a camp, stop them, and then have a double range advantage on level 1, which is incredibly hard for Alistar to deal with. Looks like Kasing and Hjarnan are setting up to do that. In the other event that they don't find a bot lane, they will just stop the double jungle poke and continue into a standard lane swap scenario.
So far, we'll see if that happens in the next couple seconds. Odoamne going to be starting in this top side with Forgiven sitting up there as well. So, see what H2K does with this one. And Kasing and Hjarnan still not revealed. Now they're heading out and heading down into the jungle for that potential jungle invade. Try and stop them from taking that Gromp.
This can be dangerous. Just keep your eyes on the buff. The Fog of War is enabled right now, but around the corner could be an Alistar.
And here they come, the flash and the knockout from Vanda. And Hjarnan is fast on the trigger. He'll flash away, but Kasing not going to be so lucky. The flash into the wall. Every one of us pale flashes once in a while, and that is first blood over to Jankos.
So we did not see this at all last week. So either these teams have been watching the same VODs, or they've shared scrim partners in which one of these teams has done this play. Other teams have copied this and started doing this. And H2K, as we said, they're a good macro team. They were already one step ahead. The move that Forgiven and Vander there did, it basically guaranteed a punish if Vitality went for the play that they were going for. If Vitality didn't indeed go for a bot lane stop in the top side of the map, then they could pincer. That's why they had that ward there. So Forgiven and Vander already one potential step ahead, and it pays off. Double flash burn and first blood. Good start from H2K.
Yeah, man, that was brutal. And they get the 2v2 lane in the top lane. Kasing and Hjarnan have to go for that camp as well before they start off the game. Vander opting towards the wind speakers, again, for the aforementioned reasons why we spoke about Janna. The AoE heal will give extra resistances as you get into those team fights, instead of Bond of Stone, which will just hit your AD carry.
And this completely shifts the early game. Whereas Vander and Forgiven would have a very rough level 1 due to the double range advantage, they now have an experience boost. They're first to lane. Hjarnan and Kasing have to play careful because suddenly they're playing without flashes, so if Black Shield doesn't get enabled properly, a combo into trap can prove lethal. And it all shifts around. Jankos playing catch up to Shuk is invading. He's revealing him. This is what Shuk does best though. He reveals the enemy jungler and allows Cabochard to play pure on mano 1v1 and get ahead that way.
Yankos will just shove him out of his jungle, but yeah, keeping track of him and actually staying around the area as well. He knows where it's warded, so he'll just stay up in front of Yankos. And it's not like Yankos can burst down a Rek'Sai at this stage in the game, so he's just going to stay there. And now, Shock will be assisted by Cabashard, who heads up and wards for him.
Yeah, and H2K, they will need to be careful in this part of the map, because let's not forget, they started the double jungle on the bottom left side of the map, which meant that Oruama had to teleport down. So if Cabashard can whittle him down, the same way Forgiven right now is whittling down Hjarnan, and this is going to get rough here in the top side. Then back in the bot lane, if somehow Oruama gets dove, without teleport, that could be a massive swing or flux in goal too.
You spoke about how much Vitality gave Hjarnan to try and deal with Forgiven, but there's no one to help him now currently in lane when you're all locked in with Forgiven.
Yeah. Forgiven's like, no. You're not locked in here with me. Or yeah, I'm not locked in with you. You are locked in with me.
That's the one.
He's going to wreck you. 29 CS to 13, and it's only going to get worse. Caitlyn lanes well into Misfortune in general because she has a big range advantage. Old Caitlyn versus old Misfortune, maybe not so much because the E damage was just pretty much disgusting. But right now, if Caitlyn's ahead, she can bully that matchup, even 1v2, because Kasing and Hjarnan don't offer enough threat right now on Forgiven, so he can play his favorite style, which is Caitlyn, push, and poke under tower. And he is so fantastically good at that because he has the cojones to stand in front of the tower and just predict your skill shots and try and dodge them reactively. So a lot of players get scared. Forgiven generally doesn't, and worst case, Vander is there to back him up with the exhaust.
I also love the adaptation from Forgiven, not taking a point in the trap because it does nothing when Kasing can just walk over it with Black Shield.
Yeah, I don't like it though. He does that all the time with Caitlyn, but with the new traps in brushes where you can actually punish people taking them safely with the bigger range headshot, I think that is, yeah, Forgiven getting too stuck in his old ways. But yeah, he never took points to trap, even in his days in SK.
Oh, Selfie actually getting blown up by Nuketook. A Lulu just 1v1s a Lissandra in the middle lane after getting the level 6 spike. Wow.
Yeah, and that is just lack of stage experience here. Selfie just going into autopilot mode farming. Uses his E to get CS. That is the #1 sin for Lissandra players. You just can't do it unless you're absolutely sure you can't get killed.
Yeah. And to add on top of the Forgiven point with traps, the North American AD carries are all going for max trap second. So you can actually get the more traps, so you can start pressing those objectives and towers.
Doublelift was lining up 5 traps next to tier 2 towers in a line, and he was like, okay, step on them, boys, or I'll take this tower. Forgiven. Doesn't seem... Maybe he'll go traps later, but for now, 2 points into E.
Selfie back in the middle lane, but getting 1v1 by a Lulu. And that was the only real opportunity that Nuketook had as well, because as soon as Selfie hits 6, you're not killing Lissandra as Lulu, but finds that one opportunity to go all in with the Ignite. Yeah,
it becomes a 2-step process, at least, to hunt Lissandra down. Selfie, though, he's not down too much. He does get the Catalyst. He's not going for any Abyssal type of builds. Rod of Ages Rush on the side of Nuketook too, but he goes the more offensive variation. He says, I don't need to finish Catalyst, I just take the core and go for a blasting one here.
Haha, got the ward over to Shock. Top lane though, Yankos and Vander just chilling in this bush. And Hjarnan, that's not the right place to go. Pulverize, flash, the burst down from Yankos, the slowdown coming in from Forgiven. He'll jump over the wall, he just wants an assist, man. But Yankos picks up the kill, point blank to the face.
Yeah, Forgiven is in lane, therefore Hjarnan assumes that even if Alistar catches him, he has a way out of there because he had flash available. But he did not take into consideration that Oruama has a global ultimate and that Yankos could be hiding there. Both those things mean a dead Hjarnan, and now he's going to drop. He's going to get Forgiven Horizon very soon. Double the CS already on Forgiven. And then the only thing keeping Vitality in the game right now is this Olaf into Gangplank matchup. 62 CS for Cabashard. You have to remember, Oruama just lost his global ultimate to potentially deal some damage to Cabashard, so he's on the threat of being dove.
Basically inverses right now. Double the CS in top lane, double the CS with Forgiven versus Hjarnan. So which one will come out big? Well, remember, Olaf will be able to run through all of that front line, so you see with Nuketook buffing him and Whimsy, so potentially the Olaf can be greater than Forgiven as we get later into this game, but it really just depends how well they can kite.
Yeah, Vander making a solid play here, disappearing from the top lane, knowing that the threat of him potentially being in brushes is enough, and he tries to get a kill in mid lane, but he is playing against a Lulu that's really not going to overexpose himself, so can't really get a kill in this mid lane matchup, has to go back to top lane. Binding goes wide, Forgiven sidesteps. Now Kasing's zone is ruined, so you can see that H2K, they just step forward. The second any CC spell, whether it's a hook or a binding drops, that just allows you to step into the zone. Luckily for Vitality, The lane is pushing, so Hjarnan can get some CS soon. But you just see how well H2K's bot lane understands zones in general. You know, sidestep the binding, moving forward, trying to deny some CS, step backwards again, dodge it again. It's incredibly hard to hit Forgiven with bindings.
One, bindings are slow, and two, I remember last split supports were saying how strong Forgiven is because he reaction dodges skills like that, like hook, for example.
He's one of the few players that doesn't guess and goes for pretty much a 1/3 chance, you know, either middle, left, or right. But he just waits till it comes out and he sidesteps reactively because he's just that quick.
Yeah, pretty mental to actually watch. Jankos now heading into the top lane. Shook going into the middle lane though. Won't get the gank off onto Selfie. Should be fairly safe right now. Doesn't have the flash, however.
You can see a bit of a greed bait here. So Forgiven just eats the bind on purpose. Vitality might be just so happy that it happened that Jankos will step forward and just wreck him.
That's what they're looking for. Vander steps out of the bush. Jankos steps out of the pool. It doesn't give vision, so they still don't know he's there.
Yeah, it gives the goal, but if the goal already ticked on Vander and they didn't really see where the goal marks were, this can happen.
Jankos comes out. We'll get some extra damage as well from end of the line. And oh, Hjarnan barely survives bot lane though. Odoamne getting knocked up by Shook. Cabochon will seal the deal with Undertow and pick up back kill. And man, Hjarnan, so close.
Yeah, we're seeing the strengths of both these teams. Due to the level 1, it snowballed into an even more drastic representation where Forgiven is really good at playing these Caitlyn type of style 80 carries and whittle people down. But Vitality, Shook is really good at babysitting and allowing Cabochon to carry into snowballing matchups. And the level 1 made it even worse because Odoamne had to use his teleport to get down to the bot lane. Yes, they caught somebody for first blood, but Odoamne only got an assist. He got delayed. He was put at an experience and a push disadvantage. And Shook, he had a complete path to shut down Odoamne. Then Odoamne uses ultimate in the top lane to get another assist, but he lost more in his own lane, and he's now being snowballed upon.
It's arguable as well whether H2K are getting the short end of the stick because Gangplank really needs gold and to get his one ultimate stacks with the Silver Serpent and also itemization to be useful versus Misfortune, who hits level 6 and at least has damage in from bullet time.
Yeah, exactly, and this can still become a Protect the Olaf composition instead of a Protect the Misfortune composition because Lulu can speed him up, Ragnaros makes him immune to any peel, Alistar is, bar the Exhaust, useless against an Olaf. Exhaust, the damage reduction still goes through Ragnarok, and then you just run, you just hope you escape him, and that is pretty much the win condition. Olaf runs at you, does he kill you before you kill him? Find out.
Yeah, it's one or the other. Cabochon going to be walking to this bush, Vander does not get the combo. And Cabochon's going to throw out the Undertow and slow down. Ragnarok has not been popped, but there's no CC to pop.
Yeah, we still have to be mindful. Olaf is still not a tank, though. He's going to be a damage build. You can burst him. Doesn't matter if he's immune to CC. Very few people are immune to damage.
Yeah, that's true. Apart from Yu Shen. But also, he needs to be near his two facilitators, being Lulu and Morgana. Those are his tanky stats right there.
Yep.
Top lane now being sieged in from Hjarnan and Kasing. They should be able to get this one. As Odoamne swapped into the top lane, he's not really going to be able to clear that wave up against these two.
Everywhere he goes, Shook is watching him.
He just finds misery.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, there's enemies here and the jungler. But the other side of the map, H2K are doing the cross map thing. They take down a tier 1. They're pressuring and they're trying to see if they can shut down Cabo, stop him from farming.
Would have placed that ultimate maybe a little lower, just so you get the...
Well, he caught the wave as it was walking forward to not allow them to get into tower range to attack too much. That was actually plays very well. Got the majority of that wave. And this allows H2K to make a tempo play. So instead of cross-mapping, H2K siege down 60-70% of that tier 2 tower, while the tier 1 tower is still alive. Not only that, Hjarnan and Kasing have to base here, and they don't even get the tier 1 tower on top. So this is another good example of why H2K is a good macro team.
And now they'll just back away and slowly chip away at these turrets. To clarify, I would have placed it lower because I'm greedy and I wanted that kind of minion.
Yep.
That's what I would have done. But saving the tower, way more worth it.
It's the big picture, right? H2K, they don't look at the tiny screen, they look at the big picture, they look at the minimap, they see what's best for their team. But then Odoamne has to learn how to play at a deficit, though. Odoamne has teleport.
There's no CC. He's out. This is the day you almost caught Captain Odoamne.
Nice. It's actually playing a pirate. That's why you made that joke.
Yes.
All right, Shook, Hjarnan, and Kasing lining up here in the top lane right now. They're bringing friends to get that tier 1 tower, but H2K spots a move. Forgiven's alone in the side lane. This is something we saw against Fnatic too. And Vander doesn't care that he spotted there. They're just disincentivizing Vitality from getting that tier 1 tower, while Forgiven farms up in the side lanes and wants to put pressure.
They will continue this push coming in the top lane. Odoamne is going to try and get these scraps as they hit the tower, but Vander is there in waiting, so is Jankos.
Ooh, watch the potential move Nuktuk had in front of him, but because Selfie's putting pressure in the mid lane, Nuktuk couldn't go for that roam to the bottom. He could have gotten behind Forgiven, but he would have sacrificed too much in mid.
Oh man, the damage onto Odoamne will stop the bullet time, so he's not in place. Selfie jumps away into Nuktuk. Will take a bit of damage from the auto attacks there, and Jankos trying to clear out the wave. Junglers will wave clear, kind of good in these situations.
Alright, Kawashard has Ghost available. Can he run down Forgiven if he gets close? Shook went down to the bottom lane again. Again, just trying to shut down Forgiven here, not allowing him to farm. Vitality, they're fine playing at a numbers disadvantage in the top lane because they have disengaged with Bind and Black Shield. They're fine playing a slow game. Nuktuk now pushed in mid, and they're rotating into the jungle. This is good. Deep vision, potentially catching out Forgiven. Not allowing him to farm. The remnants of the red buff are there. Yeah, interesting game here. Both teams trying to like force their enemy into making a mistake.
Well, this is the game we expected, right? To be played on like a macro level and just slowly chip away at these turrets, try and get small advantages, and then try and push it home. The other question mark was over Selfie as well, and how will he fit in the team, because Ryu was one of the big shot callers on the team. So far has died once in lane, which is obviously not good, but so far, as long as he can fulfill his role in the team as Lissandra, then it's not too bad.
He is going even here against Nuktuk, even though he did make that initial mistake, but he's not putting any pressure. And you just can't know what the potential plays was that he could have made, because a lot of the plays that come out of Lissandra can be so creative, where you just force push and then you disappear, or you sacrifice one wave and suddenly you show up in the top lane, call over a wall and just ice doom somebody. So he's not doing anything wrong, but he's not doing any great things either here with Selfie. And Nuktuk just offers a lot of utility later on for his Vitality composition, so the more farm he gets, the more utility he brings to the team.
And then Kabashard will take that utility and then throw axes at you. Jankos moving into the middle lane now. 2-0. He's picked up all the kills on H2K, by the way, so it's accelerated his item build just a little. Gone for the swiftness boots, of course.
Yep.
And bullet time used to just clear out this wave and stymie that push in the bottom lane.
And Vitality are running a full AD carry composition if Nuktuk goes more for the utility boot. Yes, does some magic damage, but the main damage dealers will be AD, but it doesn't really matter because H2K don't really have any tanks. They just 4 damage dealing champions, so much damage in teamfights, and then Alistar was better off stacking more health than resistances anyways.
Sure, with his ultimate. Gives you those resistances anyway. Now, Nuktuk thinking about going into the bottom lane, but carries on pushing the mid lane, so H2K need to get something off of this, and that should be the tower. Because they set it up earlier for themselves, they should be able to take it very easily. There you go. Turret goes over to Selfie and Co.
Yeah, is Nuktuk going to run to top lane and try and dive Odoamne here? That is the one play that is possible, but it's too slow. H2K already putting pressure in the mid lane, rotating mid. And even if that dive works, there's another mid lane attached. So H2K playing the objective game. Vitality looking for farm advantages, pick advantages, but yeah, they're on the back foot.
Now H2K kept the first dragon of the game at 16 minutes. We'll give them the extra in-combat stats. And now we'll back away once again, looking for some more damage spikes. Forgiven going for this Infinity Edge into the Zeal. I know Freak hates this, going for Infinity Edge first, because BF Sword and Pickaxe into the Shift build is more efficient, and then you finish the Infinity Edge as it's a multiplier. I got you, Freak.
Even though I think Caitlyn only gets 0.9 value out of attack speed, or is it 80 damage? I can't quite
Kalista
remember.
with 80 damage.
No, but the Caitlyn did get changed as well.
Attack speed?
I think it's attack speed modifiers due to the headshots. So because headshot is so strong, I think she only gets 0.9 of attack speed modifiers. So haven't run the math on that. I still think the BF pickaxe into rapid fire cannon is the better build for the Caitlyn. But who am I to disagree with the Mighty Forgiven?
That's true. He runs all attack speed on his glyphs. Don't need any of that magic resist. And in this composition, definitely not, because the 2 big damage dealers are AD as well, so it works out perfectly.
Good early poke here with the ulti on Hjarnan. Vitality looking for an engage, because they want to fake out the aggression on Hjarnan.
It's onto Vander though, and he'll just pop ultimate. So they get the ultimate from Alistar, which means it's harder to go for the engage for H2K without Vander having to sacrifice himself, but it's a small win.
Yep. Vitality holding on. They don't want to lose that last mid lane tower here. Or last tier 1 tower, rather. They want to keep control of the map. Make sure that they keep rotating to both lanes. And they just want to enable Cabochard right now. He's the man to watch. We need to see him dive Odoamne at one point. That's what they're looking for. Odoamne desperately trying to wave clear and then move away from the turret. Because again, Shook is shadowing.
He's right there, and he's going to make his presence known with the Prey Seekers as well. Cabochard is putting a bit of damage onto this tower with the Vicious Strikes, and now we'll back away. That's all he needs, a bit of damage now, and then finish it off later.
Yeah, and we're still waiting on the Spooky Ghost here on Kasing. Once they get enabled, H2K actually have to change their playstyle, because if they keep spreading out, one proc of Spooky is enough to allow the Vitality lineup to catch up, especially with Whimsy. That could definitely change the dynamic. Cabochard lurking in the wings right now, trying to assassinate somebody. Raptor goes down, and look at the build too. He's going for the Black Cleaver. He's trying to enable Hjarn a little bit. Hjarn desperately far behind, only finished Essence Reaver. He's 45 CS down compared to Forgiven, so he's struggling mostly due to the early game.
Yeah, he will hit another spike at level 11 with his ultimate, but of course you need the itemization to also make that good. And he also needs crit as well, because the ultimate now scales from that crit and Essence Reaver as well. So that 2-item damage spike is very important for Hjarn to hit. It will be a long time until he gets that though, however.
This could be a big fight here.
Coming in from the side, Shook looking for that knockup, but Vander gets it first, and that's so much damage, and the return from the bullet time is just not enough. Vander just walks up to him, exhausts him, and pieces out. A nice kill onto Shook.
Yeah, colossal miscalculation here, and Vander with a beautiful combo. Cabochard engages with Ragnarok after he lands from the combo. Too late, and that's what we were talking about earlier. You may be immune to CC, but you're not immune to damage. 4 damage dealers here on the side of H2K.
Kasing flashes forwards, he lands the binding onto Forgiven, but there's no follow. Hjarn can't do anything, and Nukduk was shoved away. Cabochard teleports into the fight from the behind to try and get the flank down, but does not pay up.
Yeah, this is actually a development and something we haven't really talked about in these team fights. Yeah, Cabochard, he can run down and get 1 damage dealer down, but he doesn't have the time on Ragnarok and Ghost to get all 4. Watch this again, and keep your eyes on Vander right now. They're trying to siege. Vitality's trying to pincer on the siege. Binding goes wide. And then here, double combo reactively comes in immediately. Cabochard drops. By the time he gets out with Ragnarok, he's gone. That Gray's ultimate almost sniped him. So he's actually struggling. He'll need a Sterix or something to keep himself alive long enough to actually chase down multiple carries here, because if H2K trade 1 carry for Cabochard, then suddenly they will clean up the fight.
Yeah, Cabochard has to do more than just go 1-for-1 in these fights, especially when you have Nukduk and Kasing basically putting all their eggs in the Cabochard basket, so gotta do more there. Mid lane though, Nukduk just going for a pretty standard build here, and going for the Ludens as well, actually, on top of the Rod of Ages, versus Selfie going towards the Abyssal, just gonna get the chunk onto Kasing.
Yeah, we can't praise Odoamne enough for staying alive in that bottom lane as much as he did, while still using his ultimate globally to defend that top lane tower once, to kill Hjarn the other time. And H2K as a unit right now, they're sieging, they're taking down turrets, and they have everything they need to win this game. Selfie didn't feed, he's playing utility, he can do his job. Graves, he has all the kills, so he gets extra damage. Combine that with the fact that Odoamne on Gangplank and Forgiven on Caitlyn have beast champions in terms of late game damage. Everything went right for H2K in that regard, and Vitality, I think they're running out of time.
Very possible, unless Cabochard goes absolutely massive and gets all of the kills in the next couple of fights, then it's just difficult to do anything really. When you have a Lulu, you need someone to buff up to be able to carry the fight.
Yeah, you see that where Vitality was earlier in the game at least pressuring one side of the map while slowly farming in the other. They are now being pressured in every side of the map. Cabo can no longer overextend and force his advantage. Selfie can even hold the waves and just E out every time. So anybody can hold Cabochard, and the remaining part, whoever it is from H2K, will win the 4v4 pressure game. Vitality on the back foot.
Odoamne now on the Triforce, is close to a 2nd item as well, so he's really not doing too bad for himself. Mid lane Shook will just jump away, we'll be losing that tunnel as well. Jankos clearing away these wards. H2K slowly getting ground in this game. Now that they're pushing Vitality back into their inner turret, they're able to get these deeper wards, clear out some deeper vision, and there's now defensive wards coming in from Vitality. Kasing still spamming out those pink ones, has another one in his inventory to move up or down, depending on the game state.
That's something we haven't really talked about too much. Kasing buys something crazy like 14 or 15 pink wards every single game. And 70% of them don't die to the enemy or because the game ends. No. It's Kasing moving them himself. So he's just constantly readjusting his line of vision, which is why Vitality have been staying in a lot of games, because let's not forget, Vitality have been struggling in a lot of mid games, playing a little bit too slow, waiting for that one magic opening. And they were fine playing so patient because they had the vision. But when you play against a team like H2K, who don't really care and they will force their plays upon you, just good pink board vision is not enough.
I'm not sure how worth that dragon was for Vitality because they lost a lot of time and Selfie was in the top lane already sieging the tower. Easy rotation from H2K to finish off the tower. That was an inner turret for a dragon essentially.
Yeah, that's not worth it unless you assume that you were going to lose that anyways, rotation-wise, and you're going for a Hail Mary 5 dragons, but definitely have to agree with you. H2K playing the macro game much, much better.
Ready for that 70-minute game, boys. Should have drafted the Nivea. But,
they have Gangplank. And Caitlyn, though, I'm not sure how much Vitality wants that late game. Good cannon barrage. Stopping the siege here. The only thing H2K need to avoid is that they don't get lured into a false sense of security and fall into one of those traps that Vitality was setting. So many times they lured people in trying to use Yarnan as bait and then close the pincer from the side, but we saw Vander with really good combos. Disengage right there.
And on the mid lane, they have another form of wave clear. Gangplank's getting close to being able to one-shot a wave. It's very, very close. He just needs maybe a longsword, and that will be enough to take out the back line as well. Plus Jankos from the jungle, and Lysandra in the mid lane, and the Piltover. Like, they can split up and still have wave clear in multiple lanes.
And Selfie playing with the teleport. He can be put in the side lanes too, as opposed to the Ignite Lulu. So if we go back and we look at the value that Ignite has brought for Vitality, which is 1 kill in the mid lane, as opposed to the value that Selfie now get from that teleport, more than worth it. It's something we did not talk about when Nuketook actually killed Selfie 1v1. It was due to that Ignite. So
Something happened.
yeah, the lights started flickering here. You guys can't see that. The crowd went mild, but
I went less than mild. Even though what happened. Kissing, definitely clearing some walls though. Ace in the hole. Kissing's got you.
no. It's like the closest thing you come to a bodyguard where you jump in front of the bullet.
But he survived, so it's the ideal situation. Got
Should
those,
actually not take that, because there's at least some lifesteal on Hjarnan, and he gets the shield from Nuketook. That's where you just fake it that you're gonna take it, and you just suddenly sidestep and you go, oops.
It's like the guy who, the bodyguard isn't wearing any armor, and the guy who's being shot at actually has Kevlar underneath.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you didn't need to take the bullet for me.
Hjarnan moving up, Odoamne gets bound. Orange.
It's K.
Alright, orange on cooldown right now. Selfie on the ward in the flank now. Can Vitality do something? Vision and now comes in, but there's still plenty of vision on Baron. Yeah, too much vision.
The orange does not have a long cooldown now, though. It's around 15 seconds because he's got the cooldown reduction coming in from Essence Reaver, and he has the crit from Triforce. So the window isn't as big as it was before. Also want to take a look at, while we're talking about skills, Forgiven, you're talking about before Crepo. Yeah, decides to max E. So
yep, E-max, mobility.
only 3 traps.
Traps only. Fine on Jankos. Selfie does not go in with the claw. Yeah, remember, there's still Cannon Barrage available. H2K do not have any tanks though. They have a lot of damage, so Vitality, they want to whittle away at the front line slowly but surely with the shields and see if they can just put some of these damage dealers low enough that an all-in becomes possible and they can clean up multiple targets. Nuketook's low on mana, so he definitely wants that blue buff. Odoamne, he's farming up, and late game Gangplank deals so much damage. He's still nowhere near his actual power spike because the 3 item is where you get the full benefit from that Essence Reaver.
But just the time, just the fact that he's gotten time to scale is the big issue, because Cabashard dunked him so hard in lane, and if he was able to stay on top of him and continue pushing like that, that would have been extremely strong.
Cannon Barrage, Hjarnan gets stopped, Selfie's flanking.
May
There's
pick up
no
the skill,
QSS.
Glacial Path.
Has the flash.
Away. Selfie had his flash as well, though, and Vander, it's not over yet. You're not away, you're not home and dry, and Selfie gets in range. This time he'll flash. Jankos was also there, supplying the damage. Didn't even get an assist.
Map-wide play. Odoamne is in the middle lane or the bottom lane. He stops the back with Cannon Barrage. Everybody flanks down, and there's no cross-map potential from Vitality because they don't have the pressure in the other lanes. Really good pick-off from H2K. Speaking of pick-off, Spooky Ghost is now finally completed on Kissing. I feel it's a little late. I think given the context of the game and the late game scalings and the squishiness of a lot of these carries, it may have been wiser for Kissing to finish off Spooky earlier and look for more picks. But obviously, very easy to say in hindsight. He just valued the tank stats, wanted the Aegis.
Yeah, when you're up against like Lysandra, do want some of that for the AoE damage mitigation. Cabashard back in the top lane, pushing up this one. But yeah, time definitely running out for Vitality. They've not made many proactive plays over the last couple of minutes. Hyanan has managed to hit his 2-item spike though with the rapid fire cannon, selfie, sidestep, but the minion wave was there anyway. But I appreciate the thought.
It's always good to practice, you know.
Oh yeah, sure.
Especially over the claw.
Hey, Forgiven, watch this.
I can do it too. Oh, that's a max range biting.
Yeah.
Forgiven does it on like 200 range, or tries to at least. Kasing finds Vander, not much happening. Very low amount of kills here. We see a lot of moving and potential setups, but very few actual deaths.
Blocked at every turn by each team as well. They have the members in the right place so a play can't be made. That one kill we saw in top lane was because of a slip-up in terms of position. Also the fact that Odawame's ultimate was used there, but it's one of those small things where you're very slightly out of position and you have the members in range to react.
And we're approaching the point of the game where Vitality will have to start switching out. Here we see the E headshot combo here. Get the max range headshot. But yeah, we're approaching the point of the game where Vitality will have to think a little more about the trinkets, perhaps switch to blue trinkets, because slowly but surely H2K is pressuring them farther into their own base, and eventually the Baron will be Baron of Vision, and then bad things will happen.
Also, Smokescreen is actually a really good sieging tool on top of the Caitlyn. It more than anything, it just confuses you when you walk in. Because it's like, oh, I can't see anything, and then you walk away or walk into them, and then either die or walk away and realize you didn't have to walk away. But you can't auto-attack out of it as well, because you stop auto-attacking the target when you have the Smokescreen on.
Yeah, vision denial in the sense of the macro vision game is incredibly strong, but vision denial as a game mechanic where you actually just make it so people can't see anything is one of the strongest mechanics, and it's actually incredibly hard for us shortcasters to really show people that, because you don't really see it. You really have to look for it, but it is so punishing and so absolutely brutal in certain team fights.
If you want to know what it's like, as soon as you see someone step into the smoke screen, just close your eyes for about 5 seconds, and then you have what they're saying.
Empathy.
Yeah.
Alright, line of traps comes out. Selfie's posturing aggressively. The wave's being cleared. Both teams know that this wave isn't going to amount to a siege, but they just want to push it in so they can move in for Baron vision. Always have to push in mid first. Forgiven with another poke. Shook. He's the bodyguard.
Yeah, he's always there for you. There's a spooky ghost. Kind of odd timing, I guess. You
They
saw
were disengaged
going
for the
forwards.
claw. They were just disengaged for the claw. So teams really don't want to fight. Waiting for some bind to connect, some flash knockup. But nobody wants to be that guy that goes in and fails.
Well, Vander's got his flash available. The Black Shield is going to be down, so maybe there's a potential opportunity here. Ooh. And Hyanan has a fast misfortune.
Phantom Dancer here on Forgiven.
I was going to mention.
Alright, mention it.
By the way, do you see this item pickup from Forgiven? Picked up the Phantom Dancer.
Wow, that's actually
yeah,
super interesting. Not going for any lifesteal, so he's comfortable playing against this comp like that. Just wants more attack speed, wants more dueling prowess. Phantom Dancer did get changed. Glass Champion hit. Does 12% less damage to you, so whoever he's attacking will have a harder time 1v1ing him. So if Olaf charges at Forgiven and he gets exhausted and he gets the Phantom Dancer proc, he may have Ragnarok, but he'll deal a lot less damage.
And the movement speed as well for the Kite against Olaf is just really, really good. I actually like that item pickup a lot.
And now he picks up the Vampiric Scepter for the lifesteal. Forgiven approaching critical mass and doesn't have the need to go QSS here. No Mikhails on the side of Vander too, so very confident. If he gets bound, he gets blown up immediately. So a lot of confidence in his flash usage. Or a lot of disrespect for Kasing. I'll leave that in the middle.
Forgiven does not get bound. The last time we saw him get bound this game was because Kasing flashed on top of him and then bound.
Yep, and it didn't really... And even if they get him, hang on, selfie flash.
Not in range.
That's the jitters.
Yeah. That was like maybe a Teemo. That was like a very small amount of range though. But still, not having that. Flash available.
Yeah, Strut from the Meph kicks in there. Poke on Kasing, selfie, no flash. You just saw him use it. Cannon Barrage is down, so they cut off one escape path. Weren't able to commit, so H2K get a little antsy here. Didn't want to wait anymore. Flash down, Cannon Barrage down. Can Vitality capitalize?
That specifically could be big in the next team fight. If Selfie cannot get on top of Hyanan, one to zone him or two, stop his bullet time in a tight situation, that could pay off.
Yeah, look at Kasing. I think that's Captain that he has picked up right there.
It is.
It is? Okay. I'm reading the screen. I'm literally hovering over the boots for like 10 seconds. I can't find it. But it is it is Captain. So because he's playing backline, and if somebody takes a bad trade and wants to retreat, they can always run towards Kasing. And that obviously helps with the Captain. Especially Hyanan, because he can move forward right now with the Whimsy, get sped up, and he can play a lot more aggressive now that he has picked up the Quicksilver Sash. Because he can disrespect Selfie, get ulti to walk out, and hopefully get saved or just flash out, reset the fight, then turn around with dual timer. So Hjarnan can play a lot more forward.
And may not even need the help of Lulu or Morgana, so they can save the Black Shield and ultimate for Kabashard if he jumps in. So may actually help a lot there in terms of saving resources.
But if he does find himself in a trade, he has 2 damage items. Forgiven is working on number 4. So Misfortune, Caitlyn duel, not going to happen.
No, you want to run away at that point. If you see Forgiven in the Dark Alley, you just turn the other way. That could happen in the jungle. Hjarnan looking at that Dark Alley and wants to run away immediately. Jankos and Vander there, clearing out those tunnels.
Jankos can make that alley dark with the
He can, yeah.
Here we go, Hjarnan.
Multi-layered. There's the bind.
There's the
and
bind.
Doesn't have the flash either.
He wasn't in range either, so H2K, where they before this last 10 minutes, what has it been, 12 minutes,
Something
where we've
like
been in the
that.
mid lane. What year is it? They were playing different lanes and they were using Oduamne as a global force with his ultimate and split lane split push pressure, but they've completely stopped doing that. Oduamne ran to the bottom lane, watched the minions, is now running back. So I think this is the part of the game where H2K is really feeling the loss of Ryu, because if you watch this game and you cover the name tags, you wouldn't say that this is the epitome of macro play.
You're not wrong. And yeah, maybe Ryu would have made some type of play, some call that would have changed the pace of this game, or even landed that ultimate flash. That would have also been a big deal, because with the flash cooldowns being so long,
Yep.
it just stops your next play for that amount of time.
Yeah, 5 minutes these days. Very few distortion boots in this game. We see Silence being gently nudged in another direction, but because everybody's so there's layers to this entire ordeal, right? Because all the supports do is hover in the mid lane, and junglers don't want side stones anymore, and people are sitting on so many blue trinkets for H2K in particular. There's no deep vision, which means these side lanes can't be pushed beyond the river point because you're at risk of being exposed and caught, or you don't know who's rotating. So all you do is you move to the side, start the slow push, move back to the mid lane. And both these teams are smart enough to not get caught in an open field mid lane. This is, after all, some challenger players here. So not much is going on as a result.
Also, with a good amount of disengage from both teams, both individually and being able to do that for the entire team, just makes it difficult to engage.
Yeah, and look at Kabashard though. He is still charging up. He went for 1 damage item, but then has Deadman's plate, and he has another Warden's Mail picked up, which means unless Selfie is going to do major damage to him, he's actually very efficiently itemized against the threat of the Gangplank and Forgiven on the Caitlyn, both targets that he will be running at.
The question is, can he get in range? With Whimsy, as the AP increases for Nuke Duck, the faster Kabashard runs. Actually, that's the duration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good adaptation here from Kasing.
But the further he can go, there we go.
Didn't go for the locket, went for the banner instead. So if you can't go for the split push, get a minion to do it for you. Right now we see Hjarnan here playing protected Hjarnan composition. Rana puts the barrel, Jankos goes.
Nice ultimate. This could be enough. Selfie comes in from the sidelines, but instantly turned into a squirrel and instantly blown up. He'll go into his own ultimate defensively. Vanza now zoning away the back line, and Shut comes into the fray, looking for a knock-up. Good CC on the Wildney, and Vanza, the first kill of the fight, goes down. Nuke Dog is out of there. Kabashard, that big threat, is dead, and now Forgiven is left to run over the team. Shuk has to run away, the only one remaining, 4-0 over to H2K.
And finally, H2K spring the trap, and that was incredibly close to being a very ugly fight though. Imagine if Selfie got one shot there. We'll see it later in the replay though. But right now, Shuk is desperately trying to cut off the minion waves. If these minions survive long enough, H2K is going straight up for the finish. So that's what Shuk's doing here. He took a page out of, I think it was Marn who did it once with a teleport on the Maokai, but will be enough. Maybe H2K can just straight up tank these Nexus towers.
Yeah, that's the problem. If you tank the Nexus turrets and still have minions, it still gets a reduced damage. So they can just go for these towers and just take it out. And that is just going to be game for H2K. Take the fight in mid lane, and then they take down the game. H2K with the win over Vitality.
What an explosion.
Yeah,
it was
slip up.
Yeah. One shot, one opportunity.
Yeah.
They took a while to build up. We had about 20 minutes of ARAM here. But eventually, H2K do the right thing. They start the fight with Cannon Barrage. They have Selfie flank with the teleport. They have Forgiving dealing a whole lot of damage. And more importantly, Selfie self-ults, heals himself, and wins that fight. But he was at the brink of death. He got Whimsied, Polymorph, Hex, call it what you want, into a knockup from or knock him from the Wild Growth, I believe. And right before he died, he self-casted ultimate, and that I think changed the entire scope of that fight.
It was sub 200 health as well. That
Yeah.
was like almost anything coming in from Vitality, but they just couldn't finish him off. But good game from both teams. And it really was just down to that big slip up there with a whole lot of tension in the mid game. Just couldn't find that one opportunity from both teams. And they could have easily swung the other way.
You can definitely fast forward to the mid game of this game though. Very, very hesitant. H2K definitely lacking reader. They stopped playing the side lane game and they all grouped up in the mid lane. Very frantically, panicky almost. Both teams scared of, making the mistake. And both teams seem to be comfortable relying in their late game prowess. We saw what Cabochard could do, but we also saw his weakness to magic damage in that fight. He dropped so low from Selfie's ultimate right there. Again, Selfie drops, Cabochard is 100% HP, he charges that Forgiven. Suddenly Hjarn doesn't have to step back. Suddenly Selfie is no longer there to flash, kill Nukeduck in the later part of that fight, and suddenly the entire scope of that fight changes. All due to maybe 200